Welcome to Creative Piecemeal. I'm Tammy Takeishi, a board-certified music therapist. Join me each week as a new guest from across the fine and creative arts spheres shares struggles, triumphs, laughs, words of wisdom, and more in authentic, thought-provoking, and inspiring interviews. Hello and welcome to Creative Piecemeal. Today I am here with Laurie Berkner. She is recognized as the Queen of Kids Music by People magazine. She's a singer, songwriter, performer, author, and founder of Two Tomatoes Records, LLC, with more than 1.7 billion total streams. She just had a new one put out, her 18th, called Walking with the Penguins in June of 2026. So if you're a fan of Laurie and her music, definitely check that out. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but the song titles alone are adorable. You got one called String Cheese, so I'm really looking forward to hearing that one. But hello and welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome. I would love to start with who or what got you into music and into songwriting for kids?
Well, getting into music was just something I always loved from when I was a kid myself. And songwriting for kids happened because I was already writing songs for adults in a kind of a folk rock band, and playing in a cover band and other, performing solo and stuff around like the New York City area. And I got a job as a preschool music specialist in that time, as it was a part-time job. And I had already been a camp counselor, a music counselor at a camp up in Vermont for a couple of summers. And I thought, how hard can this be? And it can be hard. That's what I found out. Um, Very different age groups. Like I had been working with 8 to 15-year-olds, and suddenly I was working with 3, 4, 5, basically. And then as that job developed, the ages also dropped to starting at 3 or 6 months, I believe, something very, very young in the infant and child center. It was at Rockefeller University at their child and family center. I was hired as the music specialist to replace someone who had been salaried and been there for a long time. And basically, I accepted a very cheap hourly rate to be their music specialist, and had to learn a lot along the way. And one of the things I learned was that it was really hard to find music that worked for that age group and helped me manage the classroom, kept them interested and engaged, made my job fun, made music fun for them, which was my main goal. Eventually, it basically ended up happening was that I started writing music for the kids, and that's when I discovered, oh, this is how to do it. Like these are the kinds of songs that work. And yeah, so that is what led me in this 30-year long career I've had so far.
Yeah. And obviously it's panned out very well, but was there any point where you're like, wow, I can't believe this is what I get to do? I get to write silly songs for kids.
Yeah, I think that most days. Yeah.
It must be really fun. Like, do you find yourself coming up with lyrics first or melodies first, or is it sort of a mixture?
Yeah, it's very different. Every song is different. I mean, well, every once in a while there will be sort of a musical theme that comes to mind that inspires the song. I would say recently, more often than not, it's a phrase or an idea. Like I'll think about just like a theme. What do I want to write this song about? The album that you just mentioned that I put out is called Walking with the Penguins. So somebody wrote to me, a teacher wrote and said, please, please write a song about penguins that has movement in it because we have to do a penguin unit every year. And there just aren't that many like movement songs with penguins in it. And so like that was the idea, was a movement song about penguins or with penguins in it. And someone that I work with actually showed me this random video of the zoo in Basel in Switzerland, and they pay somebody. She was like, "This is my dream job," and they pay someone to literally walk the penguins through the zoo I guess every day, or they need to get their exercise and they walk them around the zoo. And I was just watching that video and I thought, walking with the penguins, that would be a good song. So just that idea sort of was the beginning. And then there are a lot of other parts of the song. There's kind of like an uh-oh, which is a great thing for a child who is just learning vocabulary to be able to say that's something that's like easy for them to say that feels like sing-songy and rhythmic and inviting and also like accepting, right? Like we're like, uh-oh, something went wrong. Oh well, I still love you. Everything's still okay. And so that sort of became part of the song. And this, I wrote it thinking about a child being stuck inside of a classroom and like really distracted and not able to pay attention. All they can think about is like wanting to be a penguin. And so like they can't help it, but uh-oh, here I am. I've turned into a penguin again, even though I'm supposed to be sitting and listening to, and then the penguin can actually do some actions. So that just sort of like all that idea kind of came together for me while I was writing it. And a lot of times it happens that way that I have one theme idea and then just all the other things kind of, I don't know, they sort of fall into place as I just kind of play around with it.
What's been one of the most surprising things in your career so far?
Interesting. Um, I think honestly that like people still like the new songs I write. I think I wasn't really sure because I don't work directly with kids anymore. At the beginning, I was in a school or a daycare or somewhere where I was interacting with kids all the time, and I got lots of ideas just by hanging out with them and noticing things that they loved, things that listening to things they said. I was constantly inspired that way, and somehow the songs still seem to resonate. And not only the new ones, but also that the ones I wrote 30 years ago are also still seem to resonate. Like I think both of those things are those are surprising. I know you said what's the most, and now I'm telling you like five things. But the, the other thing that comes to mind is like, I don't think I thought far enough ahead when I was first doing this to even imagine that this could happen, except in sort of like a fantasy land, which is that I now have people coming to the shows and their parents, and they're saying, oh, I grew up on your music. And so now I'm bringing my kids to your shows. And I came to a show when I was 3, and it was my first show, or it was special to me in some way. And I couldn't wait to share your music with my kids. Like that, that is kind of a real like dream come true for me. I always felt that way about the music that I loved as a kid, like
Mhm.
Free to Be You and Me, Marlo Thomas's album in particular. I remember thinking, I'm going to play this when I have kids, for my own. And that somebody else, that other people feel that way about my music feels like one of the most beautiful gifts that I've received from having this opportunity, to make music for kids and families. So that was a surprise and like a very beautiful thing to have happen.
Yeah, and such an honor too. And I feel like you've joined the ranks of, Raffi and the Sesame Street music. I mean, like it's iconic. It's interesting songs, fun, playful. There's learning components. There's developmental things built in. But I am curious. I am curious. Do you have a favorite song from your new album, or are you not allowed to say?
Well, I'm probably allowed to say it. I don't know who would tell me I can't, but but do I have one? It definitely feels like people asking me like, "Who's your favorite child?" Trying to think of songs that I really like to play. Like I really like to play Everyone's Demanding Bananas. That is a very fun song to just play and like run around on stage going bananas. And I do really like Walking with the Penguins. And there's an My Bunny Goes Hop is also very fun to sing. I don't know, I actually feel, I mean, I wouldn't put a song out that I didn't like, but because these are the newer songs, I do feel like excited about them right now, and they all feel like they have something different in them to offer. I mean, I certainly hope people will receive them that way. So yeah, it's kind of hard to say.
Understandable. Yeah, they're shiny, they're new. I feel that way whenever I write new songs. Like I songwrite for myself, but whenever I write something new, I'm like, oh yeah, I like this one better than the one I wrote 3 months ago, you know?
Right.
If we snuck a peek at your music collection, what are some things we'd find?
I really like to listen to Hawaiian slack key guitar, and I like West African music. I'm an old sort of Joni Mitchell, Paul Simon fan, 60s kind of and 70s. And I mean, they kept, of course, they've continued to make music. I actually just saw Paul Simon last week, 2 weeks ago, live. And I was this is a little bit off topic, but I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I know all of his songs. I listened to his music for, 30 years, right? And then I realized he's been making music for like 60 years. So I've only listened to like half of his catalog at the 30-year mark, and then I kind of fell off. I was like, I know Graceland and Rhythm of the Saints, and then they did that album with the baby, and then then there's been a lot of other stuff. But I was like, I know all the ones before that, and so when he played a few new songs, and I could see some people were so excited about them, and I was like, what? What is this? What is this one? You're still writing music. Which of course he is. But it just, anyway, that he's always been someone I love. David Byrne is like, just love all the different kinds of things he's done, from Brazilian music to Talking Heads to all his other solo stuff, and musicals. Like I saw his recent musical a couple few years back on Broadway. He's also amazing. I like kind of singer songwritery and music from other countries. I also like really like simple. Well, I don't know if you'd call it simple, but minimalist music, like Philip Glass. And there's something in that, and it's probably related to why I like to write kids' music too. There's the repetitive aspect of it, I think, is so profound when you change something very small within something that you've been listening to multiple times. Suddenly, that really small change is so powerful and so important and makes such a big change in the listening experience. And I love that about actually writing kids music too. You can really make a big change when there's a lot of repeated lyrics or repeated melody or rhythms. And if you just do something small, or add one small instrument, if you're just playing, singing a cappella, or just playing with a piano or a guitar. And I love kind of painting the music that way.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you do that and that you brought that up because neurologically, having the repeated pattern, simple phrases, for infants and babies and kids, or really for all of us, but especially at that younger age, it creates a sense of safety and predictability and stillness and calm. And then, like you said, when you change something really small, maybe it's adding an egg shaker or, changing the harmony all of a sudden, on the last phrase, it becomes monumental, but it also it makes them feel safer because it's like, oh, well, we had this predictability, but I can handle the small changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Going to a more serious question, what has been a barrier to reaching this height in your career, whether internal or external, that you're comfortable talking about?
Well, there have been so many changes. It's more external, I would say, because I've always been inspired to keep writing. I really love performing. I love interacting with kids and families. I love recording, like all the aspects of my job, maybe save for some of the business end, which can be less exciting to me, but sometimes is also really fun. Like I love doing all those things, and I haven't ever, like, even making videos and all the stuff has been like just a joy to be able to do. And it has had to change a lot over like how my music gets out into the world, how people discover it. I mean, my first album was on cassette, and like that's what people were listening to in the 90s. And what do you think of that? My first album was 1997. Then it was like, what? what are these things? Compact discs? Okay, CDs. Okay, now I'm making CDs. Now I'm going to transfer stuff onto CD, and kids are they're sort of playing them as much. I mean, tape players were so kid friendly, which was so awesome, and all my cassettes were colored. So one was yellow, one was red, one was blue. Then kids didn't have to be able to read yet. They could grab the one they knew had the song on it that they wanted to listen to and put it in themselves and press play. And of course, you can do that with CDs too, but they're a little bit more like they can be scratched, and so it becomes a little bit less kid friendly also. And then there's like, oh, now there's streaming. Okay. Wait, it's first there's downloading, then there's streaming, then wait, there's like YouTube and videos don't cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to make anymore, and I mean my first DVD, there are no DVD, there are DVDs. Now there aren't DVDs. It's just been like I've been through a lot of changes in the music industry, and like where people discover music has changed constantly. So being someone who, like in the beginning, also was told, "Oh, you're a kid's artist. No one's going to really ever know your music because you have to show up at a library for a show, or they have to come to the show in person, and it's hard to get families to shows." And I remember trying to get a distributor when I first started from my first couple of albums, and they were like, I think you're just a local act. Like, you're never going to make it more than that. And then people started making cable TV channels that were just for children. And I ended up being on Noggin, which turned into Nick Jr. And they reached out to the person who was one of the people who was creating that channel, reached out because her nieces listened to my first cassette, and she was like, "Oh, they're like really into your songs. I feel like they would be great for our channel. Can we talk?" And at that point, I'd had some fame like through getting on the Today Show, which is a whole other story in itself, but that had happened, and she was like, "Huh, you were on the Today Show, and what happened when you did that?" And I was like, "Well, my sales like exponentially multiplied. People were like going into stores across the country asking, like when Barnes and Noble was a thing. Now that doesn't exist either, but like barely. But they were, looking for me, and that little distributor who only did kids music, who had told me I couldn't expand beyond local markets. Like, I got called at home by Barnes and Noble's sole distribution company. They're like, all we do is just we are the only distributor for Barnes and Noble. People are going into stores all over the country asking for this woman, Laurie Berkner. They called me in my apartment, and they were like, "Is this Two Tomatoes Records? Can we talk to Laurie Berkner?" And I was like, "Hold, please." In my bathrobe, in my one bedroom apartment with CDs like stacked to the ceiling that I was sending out myself. And so anyway, after that happened, I told that story to Amy Friedman, who was one of the people developing the Noggin channel. And she was like, "Huh. I feel like we're trying to do a show," which became Jack's Big Music Show. We're not trying to do a show built around independent kids artists, but maybe we should just make some videos with you first, because we have these things called interstitials that we run in between the shows because it's a non-commercial channel. And so we have to have something to fill in the time, because at that time people were still making shows that fit into a block that would include commercials. So we made 6 videos, and she put them on, and like whatever happened when I was on the Today Show, it was like 10 times that happened, that suddenly I was just like selling out Lincoln Center in 3 hours, stuff like crazy, crazy things happening. And I've told you this whole story, and I don't even remember why I started telling you it. Oh, what was a barrier to getting to where I am, right? So, yeah. So the thing is that, like, great, that all happened, but then things changed again, and like Noggin turned into Nick Jr. Jack's Big Music Show only ran for 2 seasons. I did some more videos with them. I had a kid, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. My kid would rather watch me on a DVD or on Nick Jr. than actually sit on the couch next to me. Like, they'd be like, "Put Laurie Berkner on." and it freaked me out completely. I was like, I can't do this. No more TV, which that was a short-lived, very strong decision. Uh, but but I ended up like kind of not in a no person's land, like not having anywhere to share the music again. And people are constantly having new kids, as you know, right? Like, so new babies are being born. How do you find out about new music? Like grassroots, or you watch a TV show. I wasn't on a TV show anymore. And so suddenly it was like, oh, this YouTube thing. What is this YouTube thing? I got to figure out YouTube. And now there are toys that have my music in it, like Tony boxes and Yoto boxes, and those are other places that people find out about the music. But I feel like it's not that it stopped me from getting here, but it's like it those all of those changes were constant hills to climb and pivoting to do and kind of a roller coaster to ride, honestly, because it's like some years I could, couldn't fill a place with 500 people, and other years, it's like, okay, 15,000 people came to see me in Central Park, so it's just like, meh. What's this year gonna be like? I don't know. I hope it's gonna be good. I'm just gonna keep doing the same thing I've always done.
It certainly speaks to the fact that like perseverance and being adaptable certainly helps, especially with all those technological changes. I mean, I don't really know what in the world's going to happen after streaming. I can't really imagine anything else after that.
Exactly. Who could have imagined streaming before it happened?
Yeah,
So,
I know. Yeah. It's such a it's such a luxury though to have streaming. People can listen to your music or any music anywhere now versus having to like lug around a bunch of CDs and things like that or records in the really early days.
yeah, which is so interesting because I know I mentioned like the Tony box. It's basically a cassette player, except it's a much bigger speaker. It's a square speaker box. Do you know what those are? I mean, so it's a square speaker box that's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches tall and wide and cushioned. And on the top, it's magnetic. You buy a figurine, and the figurine, when you put it on top of the box, it plays the music associated with that figurine. It actually gets streamed, I believe, at first, and then it's sort of downloaded into the player, and then it'll play other places, but you have to do that first to kind of get the music into the player. And Yoto is similar, but they're cards, and you just slip the card in, and so I have a bunch of cards. But I mean, there's like Disney and Paw Patrol, and and it's just and stories as well as and podcasts and as well as plain pure music. But it's basically like it's a CD player, it's a cassette player. It's just that they're these really cute figures, or they're cards, or there are other ones. I think there's one that has like maybe it's Storybots has little crocheted figures. There's a bunch of them out there now. But it's basically people figured out a way to make a really cute version of a tactile, physical form of a recorded of audio. We're going back in that way, and also it's much more fun to have a figurine to play with than it is to like have a cassette or a CD. But it is interesting that like there is a desire, I think, for a physical representation of the audio, especially for kids, because makes so much more sense, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm. Yeah, those sound really cool. I did not know about that they existed, but it seems like a great tool and especially if they're squishy and kids can carry them around and you don't have to worry about them breaking and like you said there's that tactile aspect too. It's really
Yeah.
neat. Switching gears a little bit, if you had a theme song for your life, what do you think it would be?
Oh my God. Don't know. That's a really good question, though. Do you know what song is coming to mind? I really don't know why. Is Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop. It'll soon be here, right? It's like it'll be better than before. yesterday's gone. I think partly because there's a mix in that. I mean, I have was adult diagnosed with ADHD, and like I'm here. Like if I'm doing something, I'm like I'm right here. I might get distracted, but like I definitely am. I don't really, it's hard for me to think ahead, and it'll soon be here. I think there's a lot of aspects of that that have helped me be a better songwriter and also be someone who can feel connected to kids' experiences in a way that allows me to write songs for them that they feel connected to. But there is something like for myself, I feel like it's okay. Don't forget that there's also like what's coming. Like there are things coming, and you want to just. I think also because I often think about how I've been doing this for so long, which makes me realize, oh, without ever really consciously thinking about it until maybe the last 10 years, like I really have been in this for the long game. And I've made a lot of decisions from that place, not really consciously thinking, well, I'm going to be doing this for a long time, so I don't want to, make choices that are not thoughtful, just more because like that's just how I do things generally. But I do, as I think about it now, I feel like, okay, that's don't stop thinking about the fact that like this is something you want to like think about what you're creating, think about the future of the kids who are listening to the music that I'm writing, think about what I could be doing that could be better, that could be giving more, that could be helping me grow more, helping other people grow more, all of those things.
That's very nice. I can definitely tell you approach your work with not only passion but also compassion and a sense of curiosity and wanting to further grow and help the young kids have a fuller life through music. And I love that.
Thanks. Yeah, I hope so.
What is something that you would bring to a potluck? Do people even
Um,
have potlucks anymore?
Well, they do if they have kids, I think, because there's a lot of like school potlucks. I was just thinking, like, what did I used to bring to school potlucks? You know what I would bring a lot is pão de queijo, which is Brazilian cheese bread.
Ooh,
It's gluten free, so like if kids have allergies, it does have cheese in it. So if they have a dairy allergy, that's a problem. But it's like chewy and really fun. You can pop like a 5 or 10 of them very easily, and they're super yummy, and they're not that hard to make. So that's probably what I would bring.
that sounds very tasty. What is a sound that you love?
It's a sound I love. Probably won't be able to think of. I'll think of something as soon as we're done, but I do love like the sound of chimes that are like blowing in the wind outside of someone's house.
That's a nice one. So, final question, a little bit deeper. And you're obviously living a very, very creative life, but in your own words, what does it mean to live a creative life?
I think it means so I think everybody is creative. Like it's sort of it's almost funny to me when people say, well, I'm not a creative person. Like we're having a conversation. I had to make up everything I was saying, and so did you. Like that we are constantly being creative as humans. But what I think maybe is important about being creative is actually respecting what we are creating in a way where we make some record of it and we share it. So like in order to you can share something that's like completely improvised and it goes away, after maybe like on a social media app, a 24 hours post, or in a concert where like people who were there, that they were the ones who got to see it, a play or whatever. But the creative act of getting to that point was actually to make something and somehow put it out into the world, make a record, like record of it, write a script, write the song, even if you're completely improvising what you're doing in that situation, there is some memory record of it, right? So I think we could set aside total improv for a moment, but one of the ways to really like live a creative life is to pay attention to all the ideas, the random thoughts, the little fragments that like come into our minds, come out of our mouths, come out of our fingers if we're musicians, and actually writing them down, turning on the recording device, playing it for somebody else who might remember it, and then nurturing it, like doing something with it so that you feel proud of it enough to want to share it with other people. And then it becomes like it's like something bigger than just whatever we've made, you know. And so I think that's actually really important, and getting that feedback that other people are receiving what we're making creates a really beautiful feedback loop.
Excellent. I love that, and I definitely agree. And it's so validating too to put something on record, not only for the creator but people listening. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. But Laurie, thank you so much for joining the show. Delighted to have you. Listeners, please check the show notes for everything Laurie related. And as always, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to Creative Piecemeal. We hope today's episode left you feeling inspired. This podcast is independently created and produced by the host, Tami Takaishi. More details about today's guest can be found in the show notes, along with links to the podcast's socials, merch store, and ways to support arts organizations AHA Broadway and New Normal Rep, both near and dear to Tami's heart. Don't forget to visit creativepiecemeal.com, the official podcast website, where you can leave fan mail, write a review, explore Tami's blog, and discover the growing collection of episodes. Special thanks to our audio engineer, Alex Rapetti. Additional narration by Dante Jace. Let's keep celebrating creativity in all its forms.